G'day guys, Josh here. I want to talk about Net ESL Challenger in Europe at the moment. Basically, there's been a recent tweet that's come to my attention from Adam9130 from Into the Breach, and I do want to talk about it. I'll get the tweet up in question for here. So he's basically wrote here in response to Adam, who's one of the ECA guys, to say to play 38 maps in ESL Advanced Season to get into Premier, just to get relegated after 2 BO3s within 26 hours. This is talking about the ESL Challenger Cup. And I did some research into this. Looked at what he was talking about, and I saw that the ESL Challenger League goes a little like this. So you get into separate into 4 groups. I did suggest for the Europe side to separate into 4 groups and add a few more teams into it. So you can have 4 groups, and then top 2 go to playoffs, the bottom 2, bottom goes to advance, and then the second bottom fight out for the last 2 spots in advance to try to keep themselves alive. And I felt that would have been a much better system, given that there's a big competition in ESA Advanced at the moment. So give Europe a bit more spots to play for it, essentially, rather than just making Advance a bigger elo hell, basically. Now, the first things first, Adam mentions that they were eliminated back into Advance with only in 26 hours, and not to mention they were unreschedulable as well, as you can see my tweet down there as well. And I'm going to, really question this heavily with ESL, is that why would you do that with an EU tournament where all your other leagues are being run essentially with 8 teams or 9 teams in a group? They all play BO3s against each other, and that's essentially it. You're going to have probably one time where one team's going to be royally unlucky, where they're a decent team and could beat other teams in BO3s, but they get straight relegated because they're versing the 3 best teams in their entire competition, and they could be straight relegated from that back to Advance for no real reason. You can say that, hey, they'll make it back in, but this is like a 3-month wasted being Advanced when you're a decent team altogether. So this is not a good thing from ESL, and I'm very, very surprised, honestly. Like, I know there's going to be people complaining, being like, if they do this, be like, oh, ESL is trying to steal the schedule again. I'm going to say, just stuff them, to be honest. Just stuff those people who say that, because this tournament structure is not very good, considering the rest of your environment are just 16 BO1s, then BO3s to playoffs, and that's it. And if you lose more than 6, I think it's 10 BO1s, you're relegated. And at least teams can fight for their spots rather than just 2 BO3s and then they're back to Advance and have to go through struggle street again to get a chance at ESL Challenger Cup. And I rather, as I said before, expand it to 24 teams. Just have 4 groups of 6. And that would still be a fairer system. And also, make sure the playoff teams, first, second, blah, 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 and rotate them around. And I feel like ESL's got it wrong here. I know I cast the ESL and stuff like that, but this is the wrong take. I know the guys that work there, they're great work, stuff like that. I feel like they need to take a leaf out of this book. Just be like, no to this league setup. Find a new league setup. This is a bit silly. I do not want to see a team like Into the Breach, like, who realistically may have been relegated anyway under the old system. But what if, it's another team where they wouldn't have been relegated? They could have been some BO3s against other teams as well, realistically. But they were relegated because they were in a hard group, in a group of deathers per se. That is not a really good message to send, where it's just like, hey, you lost 2 BO3s against, probably the best 2 teams in the competition. Sorry, you're gone, okay? Not a good message to send. Also, not to mention as well, you just really putting the pressure on, and also sabotaging your own league in a way where some of these people would rather play Pinnacle and other relog events than ESEA and trying to get into ESL Pro League, because it's just, like I say right now, it's just not good, where they only have 2 BO3s against semi-decent competition, and they can't really fight for the way they get back up from it. They have to go back straight to ESA Advanced, which is, I can tell you right now, not very fun. I feel like this is a bad system. My alternative is just to go to groups of 6, play BO3s against each person. I mean, you may get this person to say, you're trying to hog up the schedule and stuff like that. You can just rebut saying, we just want to make it fair to make sure that teams all verse each other once in a BO3 that's been fully tested, and nobody can say, oh, this team was just bunched in a group of really, really good teams and that's it, that kind of thing. And really demonstrate argument, be like, hey, we're not crowding out the schedule, we're making sure it's fair, basically. Even if anyone criticizes for you, just stuff them, honestly, because this approach is a lot worse, and also not to mention these people will criticize you on this approach as well. This approach is a lot worse for integrity-wise, a lot worse for the players. I mean, the players are, players that want their entire season to rely on 2 BO3s. I know in the major and stuff like that, when you get to the end game, the business end, it matters. But if you're going to go up a division or down a division based on 2 BO3s, and you can't fight for your spot to keep your spots after losing those 2 BO3s, it's really, really demotivating when you have to go back down to 3 months to grind again to get to that position in a league that's already ELO hell, basically, ESL Advanced, where there's a lot of good teams in there vying for the opportunity. It can be very, very rough. And I gotta say right now, as I said, 4 groups of 6, just do it. I know you guys can. And it's much, much better. It'll be much fairer, just like the NA and Asian leagues that are coming in the future. ESL, you guys know how to do it. I'd say just change it up. Put this season as it is to keep it going. Obviously, you can't really change it down to the breach are relegated. But for future seasons, 4 groups of 6, maybe even make 4 groups of 8, because you got a lot of teams in that advanced league that you can put up to ESL Challenger Cup, and then just have basically as well. This goes into another point where you have 2 games that you guys cast on your ESL channel and 2 games that you cast on your community casters. And it's getting to my second point, okay? Not just with Adam's tweet, but they brought on community casters for ESL EU, the Challenger League, and they can't cast anything because all of the games are being casted by the ESL channels. I think this is a bit of a miscommunication and a bit silly, in my opinion. Like, very, very silly. If you're going to bring community casters on, and I know I'm risking my spot potentially to community casters, make sure they have a game to cast potentially, okay? I know you may not have responsibility for it, but don't screw people around. Don't be like, hey, you can come and cast the EU games, and be like, oh yeah, you can't cast them because you know you're English, okay? It's like, mate, just don't do it in the first place. And I emphasize with a lot of people who've come on to EU to think they're going to cast, maybe 1 or 2 games, or maybe more, and being told, oh no, you can't, okay? That's not a good thing to give to your casters who've been casting your event for probably 2 to 3 years, even more seasons. And I think that's a bit silly. Really, really silly. And changing it to 4 groups of 8 may help that, because at least you give 2 games to the English casters, community casters to cast and show their mettle. Okay? And ESL can cast 2 other games. Just pick the good ones, give the crap ones to the community casters. And those people can be like, no, you shouldn't do that. ESL can't do that. ESL's the TO. Okay, ESL needs to make money. They get the best pick of the litter. Okay? I'm only criticizing ESL here is because they recruited a bunch of EU casters and then told them, oh yeah, you guys can't cast any of these games for the group stages. You have to wait the playoffs. That ain't good enough in my opinion. Okay? Anyways, guys, I'm just trying to improve the scene. ESL, like, they know that I, work for them really, really hard. They know that, I do my best and stuff like that. They know I want to improve the scene overall for AU, EU, and NA, and whatever the hell for CSGO. They can take this on board. Everyone else should take this on board. Don't obviously harass them and, send threats to them and stuff like that. That's just dumb. That's not going to achieve our goal to make CSGO better. Threats and violence and just hatred does not actually get anywhere, anything, as you guys may have noticed. I mean, most of you guys have seen the effects of your own hatred and how you just still miserable as you are at the start. Let's try to make this CSGO season better. Let's try to make, EU a bigger league and see where we can get to, guys. Anyways, guys, as per usual, Josh out. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. See you guys later. Bye.